By putting tires on it with stock gears, you're asking the truck to move faster and further per every driveline revolution.
We're going to talk about something special. Rear ends. Hey, what's up everybody? It's your dude Blackhat here. Today, we're going to talk about something special. Rear ends.
That's what she said.
Today, we're going to talk about gears and carriers with the homie Alec here. He's our extraordinaire when it comes to rear ends of all types.
Delivery's all wrong, butchering it.
We know you from
the Ford Ranger, the To The Moon Ranger I have.
You're located up here where I'm at, which is
Fresno, Clovis.
Clovis area, Madera, Central Valley. So you do a lot of gear work, rear end work on all kinds of different cars and trucks and pre-runners, rock crawlers, street cars, so on and so forth, correct?
Yeah, we'll be mostly talking about desert stuff, but yeah, a little bit of everything.
This dude knows what he's talking about, and we're going to kind of go through what all encompasses the rear axle and the housings and all the intertwining things. So today we're going to talk about gears and we're going to talk about carriers. So let's get right into it, man. So what do we got over here?
Ring and pinion, the main parts in the differential you're going to have here. So these are 9-inch based gear sets, and then just as an example, we have your standard ring and pinion from like a Jeep axle just to show the difference. One of the main advantages and why the 9-inch is so popular is for its size, it's pretty strong. A lot of the reason is because it has 3 bearings, 2 opposing tapered bearings, and then a nose bearing here, the pilot bearing, that allows it to take a lot of load without deflecting too much, which is something that's unique to like a Ford 9-inch and a GM 10.5 14 bolt, which is why they're so popular in like the crawling world. They're easy to work on, and they have that extra support bearing, so they make them stronger from the factory even. So that's one of the main differences that sets it apart, in addition to being a third member style, easier to work on. But these two are standard size ring and pinion Ford 9-inch. Like this is a factory takeout, like 411 ring and pinion. This is a polished out of a trophy light. I believe this is like a 630 gear ring and pinion. And then we have a 583 like trophy truck 10-inch gear. You can see the main difference. These are factory spline, factory size, and then you can see the 35 spline for the 10-inch trophy truck stuff, and you can see the splines, the journal, threads for the pinion nut. Everything's a lot bigger, and then you can see the reason why they call it a 10-inch is the actual diameter of the ring and pinion is different. So, like this is your typical pre-runner style gear, and then that's more the big kid stuff there as far as ring and pinions go. You could tell too, the way they're cut, have a lot thicker tooth on them, and they go through a lot more rigorous processes in manufacturing as well to keep them alive when you have 800 horsepower and 40-inch tires.
Let's kind of touch on the 9-inch a little bit. What is a 9-inch rear end? Where does it come from? Where can somebody get it?
Yeah, so they're a common rear axle to use in projects, mainly because the housings are all steel without any cast center section. So you could weld a 3-link to it, a 4-link to it, all kinds of bracketry to it. The third member comes out, it's easy to clean. You can have someone set up the gears on a bench rather than having the whole vehicle or a whole housing. They come out of Ford vehicles, anywhere from like a Econoline van, F100s, F150s, pre-90s stuff. So that's where it's derived from. And the reason a lot of people use them too is they make everything for them. As far as aftermarket world, they're the way to go.
So let's go into gearing and exactly what gearing is. If I'm building a Ford Ranger or whatever, I go buy a junkyard 9-inch. I'm just gonna run 37-inch tires, let's say, you know.
Yeah.
So like, why would I need to mess with the gears and stuff that are in the rear end?
Yeah, so the ratio change is the relationship between this tooth count on the pinion and the tooth count on the ring gear. So, like factory ratios, honestly, you go to the junkyard and grab one, they're going to come anywhere from like a 273 ratio to like a 370 ratio. When you put big tires on your car, say you're building the Ranger or something and it's a factory 4-liter, you throw 37s on it. By putting tires on it with stock gears, you're asking the truck to move faster and further per every driveline revolution. So it makes the truck sluggish, slower, it has trouble getting into overdrive and things like that. What you're doing is you're making up for that tire in the ring and pinion ratio. So you're basically undoing the tire change as far as the drivetrain in front of it is concerned. Say you have a factory Ranger with like a 373 ratio and an 8.8, you go to a 9-inch, depending on if it's pure race truck, if it's going to ever see the street, or if it's only dirt, you're going to want to gear it anywhere from like a 488 to like a 6.0 gear, depending on what your goal is with the vehicle. But that basically makes up for the tire and also gets more power to the ground and gets more bite on the low end and helps it perform. It's like a false sense of horsepower you gain when you add a bunch of gear to it because it allows the drivetrain to spin easier.
Okay, so common misconception. Gearing your truck gives you more power.
Yeah, definitely doesn't add anything to your engine there, but it will make it feel a lot peppier because it moves the vehicle much easier. Yeah, and you got to be careful too, depending on the transmission you run. You throw too much gear at it, your first gear becomes useless, potentially, depending on the trans combo. A lot of guys like to just throw too much gear at it, go 630 or 650 gear, and you lose pinion teeth. You see the diameter of the pinion and how many teeth are there?
Yeah.
Then you go to like a 583 gear, the diameter shrinks and there's less teeth. So you're sharing the load with less pinion teeth. So things get hotter, things get easier to break. In the 9-inch world, you know, you can go 456, 488, 513. I mean, and there's some in between, 5.0 gear. I mean, there's so many options to really nail down, you know, what RPM you want to be at and what gear and what your, you know, desirable top speed is and all kinds of factors. And then when it comes to more serious racing, sometimes you'll throw in a different ratio depending on the track you're in. If you know you got a lot of high speed stuff, you know, you can run a 513 versus a short course track, you might run a 583. So keep the RPM up and you're not looking for top speed. So there's all kinds of different reasons you throw different ratios into a vehicle.
Gotcha. I think we have a solid understanding of what the ring and pinion does and why you would need to change ratios and all that good stuff. So we can take the open diff and
Yeah, no one likes those.
you just stay back there.